Now let's break down our breaking story of the day with the Bitcoin price action hitting $47 million per coin. Let's freaking go. Shout out Joe. Thanks for subscribing to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. So here we have it. I shared this tweet a little earlier with BlackRock allocating their optimal portfolio allocation into Bitcoin of 84.9%, which is according to their very own study released in 2022. That would send the Bitcoin price to $47 million per coin. That's what's up. Quoting Samson Mow right here, in 2022, BlackRock released a study indicating the optimal portfolio allocation of Bitcoin was 84.9%. The remaining 15.1% can go into equities and bonds. Let's actually read this. Again, this is a study coming directly from the world's largest asset manager, in which many believe is the US government. Check it out. 2.3 effect of skewness in practice. We perform the following asset allocation exercises. Suppose we start with a 60-40 equity bond portfolio, assuming that equity and bond returns are log normal, fitted to the moments reported in data exhibit 1. We compute the power utility risk aversion coefficient to yield that 60-40 allocation. In this case, a risk aversion of y equals 1.5 corresponds to 60-40. Then we hold the risk aversion fixed and estimate the optimal weight of Bitcoin. And assuming the equity and bond weights are held in the same pro rata 60-40 allocation, that is, the equity of the bond weights are set to be whatever this math. Respectively, we use a mixture of normals distribution for Bitcoin returns that captures large positive skewness. Now for what you see highlighted in the yellow. Exhibit 4 presents the results. Starting with a 60-40 equity bond portfolio, which is produced with a risk aversion of y equals 1.5, the optimal Bitcoin allocation is a large 84.9%. That's practically an 85% allocation from the world's largest asset manager. The remainder of the portfolio, 15.1%, is split 60-40 between equities and bonds. And now for the green highlighted area. Although Bitcoin has an extremely large volatility, a 1.322 as seen in Exhibit 1, the pronounced positive skewness leads to large allocations and dominates in the utility function, see equation 9. And they go on. The certainty equivalent compensation required to not invest in Bitcoin is close to 200%. In Exhibit 4, starting at a 20/80 stock bond portfolio leads to a 12.5% Bitcoin allocation, and a risk tolerant investor with an 80/20 stock bond portfolio desires a levered position of Bitcoin of 106%. So let's freaking go. Zero, appreciate that super chat. You the man. John West, appreciate it as well. And I'll address your question a little later. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for contributing to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Now, someone broke down the math for Samson Mow right here. BlackRock has $9.4 trillion in assets under management, 9.4, 0.849 for the right Bitcoin position percentage. So 7.98 trillion that BlackRock will need to allocate to Bitcoin to follow their paper. 7.98, 118B, I guess, I don't know if that's billion or what, of a multiplier. I'm not the math whiz here. $941 trillion market cap. So Bitcoin will be about 47 million per coin. Samson Mow chimed in. The math checks out. Bitcoin is going to 47 million per coin. Send it and let's go. He also recently shared the SEC will approve all the Bitcoin ETFs. The most interesting countries for Bitcoin adoption right now are Panama, Indonesia, and Argentina. And you already know Argentina just got a pro-Bitcoin president with Javier Milei. They have a population of 50 million. Panama would be lit as well, being it's in Central America, not too far from El Salvador. And Indonesia is one of the massive populations. We're talking close to 250 million people. Can you say mass Bitcoin adoption? Let's freaking go. Another interesting tweet Samson Mow shared. It has come to my attention. There are some Bitcoiners that don't think Bitcoin can reach $1 million per coin in a matter of days or weeks after the ETF money starts to flow in. So they're in for a pleasant surprise. Preach. Let me know if you agree or disagree with that sentiment from Samson Mow and the BlackRock allocation strategy of roughly 85% into the King Crypto. Now let's dive a little deeper into the halving, shooting the Bitcoin price past $1 million per coin. Here we go. Jan 3, CEO Samson Mow recently compared the upcoming bull cycle with that of 2017, predicting Bitcoin to reach $1 million per coin. The ongoing narrative surrounding the increasing institutional interest in Bitcoin exposure has led multiple analysts coming up with their forecast for the upcoming bull cycle. Amidst the optimistic wave, we have Samson Mow, who made a particularly bold statement, predicting Bitcoin to hit an astonishing $1 million price action per coin. This projection, shared Mow's Twitter, stands out even amongst maximalist standards. Quoting him here, in 2017, it took 9 months for Bitcoin to go from 1,000 to 20,000. The block subsidy was 12.5. There was a lot more Bitcoin sloshing around on the exchanges. Mining was boiling the oceans, and there was zero institutional money coming in. 1,000 to 20,000 is 20x, and 50,000 to 1 million is 20x. So is $1 million price action really that far-fetched? Oh, hell no. Now let's go deeper. Mow's prediction hinges on the belief that Bitcoin is poised to replicate the parabolic growth cycle, which fueled the historic bull run in 2017. And how many of you witnessed the bull run of 2017, meaning you were involved in Bitcoin at that time? Do let me know. He points out that during that period, Bitcoin experienced a 20x surge to go from 1,000 to 20,000 in 9 months. And importantly, that rapid appreciation occurred at a time when the exchange supply was so much higher, so concerns about Bitcoin mining's environmental impact were prevalent, and institutional interest was minimal, virtually non-existent. Now, according to Mow, as you can see highlighted here in the purple, Bitcoin is expected to follow a similar trajectory. He believes the Bitcoin will undergo a 20x price fold, starting at 50,000, reaching $1 million per BTC. He asserts that achieving such exponential growth is more plausible today, given the improved circumstances compared to 2017. Amen. I agree. Let me know your thoughts. Now let's discuss Hal Finney's influence, and rest in peace to the late great Hal Finney. To support his audacious prediction, more references of Hal Finney, a software developer from Bitcoin's early days, in which many consider to be Satoshi. Finney, who received the first Bitcoin transaction from Satoshi, suggested in a cited message that if Bitcoin becomes the dominant global payment system of the future, one Bitcoin can reach 10 million per coin. This, he argued, would be feasible when the value of the entire Bitcoin supply is equal to the world's total wealth. Quoting the late great Hal Finney right here. And this is like going back all the way to like 2009, fam, so way ahead of his time. As an amusing thought experiment, imagine that Bitcoin is successful and becomes the dominant payment system in use throughout the world. Then the total value of the currency should be equal to the total value of all the wealth of the world. And current estimates of total worldwide household wealth that I found range from $100 trillion to $300 trillion. So at 20 million coins, that gives each coin a value of about $10 million. Send it and let's freaking go. So the possibility of generating coins today with a few cents of computational power, time may be quite a good bet, with the payoff of something like 100 million to 1. Do you like those odds, fam? What do you think? Even if the odds of Bitcoin succeeding to this degree are slim, are they really 100 million to 1 against? Something to think about. Amen, that's something to think about. Now, Bitcoin analyst BitPain conducted a thorough mathematical analysis to support Mow's forecast, computing the anticipated new supply for the upcoming cycle, projecting 136,000 BTC for the current epoch and 656,000 Bitcoin for the subsequent one. This results in a cumulative estimate of roughly 792,000 BTC. Furthermore, Payne takes into account the potential liquidation of old Bitcoin, referencing the HODL waves metric. His suggestion suggests 15 to 20% of the circulating supply of the older Bitcoin might enter the market, mirroring patterns from previous cycles. And if we assume a 20% sell-off of the old Bitcoin in the next 4 years, this could equate to around 3.8 million BTC. And despite his confidence, not everyone shares his optimism. Of course, there's going to be the critics out there and a lot of people questioning what's really possible with the King Crypto. But now you know, you got the math, you see the allocation, you saw the research report directly from BlackRock, allocating in a perfect scenario 85% of their assets under management into Bitcoin. If they were to do this, where do you think that will likely take the Bitcoin price? Do you agree with the math? 47 million per coin. And the next question goes for you guys in that live chat. There is a live poll right now. By what year will BlackRock have allocated 84.9% of their almost 10 trillion in assets under management into Bitcoin? Please do let me know. Do you think between 2024 and 2025, 2026, 2027, 2028 to 2029, or 2030 or after?